1. Darkness inspires me, calls to me like a siren. It kindles my imagination and sets it alight to possibilities far out of my reach during the daylight hours. That's all good, and I've made a living from it, but inspiration and the conjurings of an overactive imagination come at a Faustian cost. Sleep. And if the deal isn't renegotiated, the soul. Because without sleep, the mind breaks. Anger takes the steering wheel, guided by frustration. At first, it's the big things that get to you, the world's great injustices. Then it's the little things, like not being able to find a battery for your damn electric toothbrush. Who brushes their teeth with normal toothbrushes anymore? Neanderthals and Philistines, that's who. Without rest, the mind grinds and then breaks. At my worst, I averaged 2 hours a night, while taking 12.5 milligrams of time-released Ambien every day for 2 months. I pushed through my declining health and focused on deadlines and my ambition to someday be editor-in-chief of the Boston Globe, for whom I wrote. The first thing that goes when you're sleep-deprived is your ability to spell. Memory follows. Common sense brings up the rear, its overweight hands raised, its flabby bingo arms waggling in the air, enjoying the mad roller coaster that is your emotional state. Within a few weeks, I'd botched 5 articles, missed 3 deadlines, and barked at my boss. I wasn't fired. My editor was kind and forgiving. Instead of canning me, he suggested I quit while my reputation was still intact. I did, and it is. Which is to say I didn't have much of a reputation then, and I still don't. Turns out the job wasn't right for me. Writing under the pressure of daily deadlines turned my nighttime imagination into a monster. Free from the daily grind of crime reporting, my thoughts turn from the things that go bump in the night to the things that make me smile. Like my wife. I had been on the brink of losing Morgan, too. Hadn't even realized it. Happily, like my editor, she's a forgiving woman. And now she's thrilled that I'm following my passions and writing about New England outdoor adventures on my own blog, which at least one person reads every day. I'm pretty sure it's my mother, but I'm also sure I can make this work. Morgan's job, something with a lot of letters and an ologist at the end, pays well, so money isn't a concern. While some guys might find it emasculating to have their wives be the breadwinner, I find it a great source of comfort. She has been a beacon for me, a north star shining the way towards smoother shores. When I left my job, I was broken, half chewed up and spit out by the night. She put me back together again. It took time. Took a damn year. But she stayed by my side, soothing, encouraging, and best of all, making me laugh, and that's no easy task. After years of covering murders, terrorism, and violence of all sorts, my sense of humor had been locked away in a Siberian labor camp, chipping at rocks and living off pine needles. Now I can smile. I'm on a regimen of supplements and drugs, including melatonin, magnesium, Calm CP, Serafos, and just 2.5 milligrams of Ambien. I sleep an average of 7 hours a night. I don't fall asleep until 1 a.m., but my job allows me to roll out of bed at 9 a.m. I miss seeing Morgan in the morning, but evidence of her passing still lingers by the time I rise. The smell of her shampoo in the still shower-warmed bathroom, a smoothie left in the fridge, a note, or a chocolate, or a fresh photo of her face on my phone's startup screen. Even when she's not with me, she is. Even when I don't see her for days because, like now, she works the kind of hours that broke me. But her job is different. It enthralls her, energizes her. She'll come home from a 3-day work binge, walk through the door, and spend the next 2 hours telling me all about it. What she can tell me about it, without breaking her NDA, with a smile on her face. SpecTech is a small but well-funded lab with a government contract. I'm not allowed to know what they work on, and I know not to ask. It's the only secret between us, and that's okay by me. Odds are I wouldn't understand it anyway, and work is good for her, and that's good for me. I miss her, obviously, but we've never been better. The only downside is that when she's gone, I don't sleep as well. These days, that means bumping the Ambien up from 2.5 milligrams to 5, and trying not to think about anything serious if I have to get up to pee. Tonight is a 5 milligram night. She's been gone for 3 days and she isn't sure when she'll be able to come home. Some people might worry that there's something screwy going on, that she's refreshed after several days at work because she's actually with her Spanish lover Esteban, or something. But we FaceTime, a lot. I know she's at the lab, and if she's getting busy on the sly, it's with one of her middle-aged, kind of overweight, and definitely not handsome coworkers. So I guess kudos to him. While my inner workings pulled a Humpty Dumpty, I'm not too shabby on the outside, like Matt Damon with a dad bod, except I'm not a dad. Last I checked, it was 2 a.m. That's when I took the second hit of Ambien. Now I'm curled up under 4 heavy blankets, the weight helps, and listening to the drone of a fan, whose symphony of white noise drowns out the world beyond. Until it doesn't. A quake runs through my body. I barely notice it in my Ambien stupor, and the beginnings of a dream lure me deeper into sleep. There's a vague image of a woman with a bleach-blonde perm. A golden girl? And then shaking again. This time it's violent enough to rip me from the warm embrace of the drugs, the supplements, and my blanket lasagna. Confused and annoyed, I sputter and attempt to shout an expletive. What comes out is, Peterson! I don't know anyone with that last name. Haven't watched any TV or movies that I can remember with characters named Peterson. The surname comes from the depths of my mental somewhere, accessible only through a combination of sleep aids, confusion, and a half-dream state. Arms outstretched and reaching, a baby emerging from darkness into light, I fumble for the lamp. By the time it clicks on, the shaking has stopped. I look around the room for the rhino I'm sure someone set loose, but I'm still alone, and the hardwood floors show no signs of having been stomped on by a 2-ton animal. Bathed in light and squinting, I slide to the side of the bed, feet planted. I glance at the clock. 3:33 a.m. Wasn't there a horror movie where 3:33 was important? I wonder, my mind waking up. Don't think about it, my sleepy self shouts. If I can settle down, and soon, this will become a 7.5 milligram Ambien night. Technically, there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't like being dependent on drugs. What if there's a third world war? What if drugs are suddenly unavailable? Will I never sleep again? Damn it. I'm awake. Really awake. Maybe even be a full 10 milligram Ambien night. It's been a year since I had one of those. A tremor shakes the floor beneath my feet. Not a dream. Not a hallucination. Something real is happening. My first thought is a terrorist attack. My second thought is that Morgan's not here. I reach for my phone, intending to check the local police scanner app. Whatever's happening, they'll be talking about it. I pluck the phone off the nightstand, but before I can tap in my passcode, the house shakes again. Dogs howl. Car alarms whoop. A loud twang rips through the air. It's electric like the Faraday cage show at the Museum of Science, and it has a direction. Southeast. Boston. I yank open the light-blocking curtains and lift the double-thick accordion blinds. On a clear day, Boston's skyline is impressive from the second floor of our modest Cambridge home. Tonight the view is obscured by what can best be described as a blue explosion of electricity surrounding a column of luminous ether stretching up into the night sky. It's horrifying and beautiful. I can't help but smile at it. Then I realize SpecTech isn't too far from the glow source. I lean forward until my forehead touches the cool glass. SpecTech isn't just near the light's core. It is the light's core. Heart pounding, I look down to my phone, tapping in my 6-digit passcode with a shaking thumb. With 5 numbers punched in, the phone comes to life in my hand, loudly booming DMX's Gonna Make Me Lose My Mind, my wife's personalized ringtone. I blink down at her name, Morgan Signalman, and the photo of her face sticking out her tongue. She looks goofy in her lab coat and safety goggles, but I know what kind of person, and yeah, what kind of body is hidden under that nerdy facade. I swipe to accept the FaceTime call. A shaky blue-lit image fills the screen. The electric buzz emanating from the strange, distant explosion is mirrored by the sound coming out of my phone. Old journalist habits guide my fingers, swiping and tapping through menus until the phone is taking a screen cap video of everything I'm seeing. Morgan? A crackle of electricity is followed by a scream. Not Morgan. It's a man. And then I see him run past the lens. He's blurry not because of the camera. It's like he's being stretched out, leaving a slug slime trail of himself hovering in the air.